I'm Kendra Cook, your host for the DCTV Daily News program out of Dove Creek, Colorado. The Dolores County Broadcasting Network is the producer of DCTV with support from the Southwest Colorado TV Translator Association, which is the special district responsible for bringing the area free to access TV stations over the air by antenna. This is a community TV station, so if there is a news story or event information you would like to share, you can call us at 970-677-4119. And if you're a business or organization, we welcome you to find out more about sponsorship opportunities for banners or video segments run on the channel. This is the Tuesday program for June 30th, 2020, DCTV Daily News. More updates on the fires in our region. The fire in Yellow Jacket Canyon, southwest of Lewis, on Monday reached 395 acres. The blaze, dubbed the Yellow Jacket Fire, was burning on private land and partially on Canyons of the Ancients National Monument. It is west of the intersection of County Roads 19 and V and is near farms. The fire was growing, but no structures or residences were threatened, Montezuma County Sheriff Steve Nowlin said on Sunday. As of 10 p.m. Sunday night, the fire was 378 acres, up from 80 acres at 6:15 p.m., according to the Durango Interagency Fire Dispatch. Lightning from a storm on Saturday night was the suspected cause. Smoke from the fire northwest of Cortez was reported about 1 p.m. A rising plume of smoke was visible from Cortez, Dolores, and here in Dove Creek. BLM, San Juan National Forest, and local firefighting departments are responding to the scene, and the strategy is full suppression. Because of its remote location, air support was called in to drop fire retardant. The fire burned in pinyon juniper vegetation and moved to the northeast. It is being attacked from the air, Nowlin said. High winds pushed the fire, and a red flag warning was in effect through yesterday evening. 7 wildfires were reported in the area on Sunday, according to the Rocky Mountain Area Coordination Center. The spring fire burned on Canyons of the Ancients National Monument just south of County Road N. It reached 155 acres Sunday night and was under a full suppression plan. Nowlin said it was also being attacked from the air, in addition to crews fighting on the ground. A Kinder Morgan compression station is about a half a mile north of the spring fire, and vegetation was cleared around a nearby telecommunication tower. A 1-acre wildfire burned in Beaver Creek, northeast of Dolores on the San Juan National Forest. That fire was discovered 3:13 p.m. on Sunday and was managed as full suppression. That cause was unknown. And a wildfire on the Navajo Nation has grown to more than 3,000 acres in size and was 0% contained as of Monday, fueled by dry conditions and those high winds during the last couple of days. The lightning-caused Wood Springs 2 fire was first detected on Saturday, according to the Bureau of Indian Affairs Navajo Region Fire Management. The Southwest Incident Management Team 5 planned to take over command on this morning. The fire was sparked near Wood Springs, Arizona, in the northeast corner of the state. On Sunday evening, the fire was reported to be around 300 acres, but by Monday afternoon, it had exploded to over 3,000 acres. The growth was aided by those 40 to 50 mile-an-hour winds out of the southwest. The fire was creating hazy skies all the way to Durango by Monday. A reminder that the county-wide ban on open fires in Dolores County is in effect until further notice. And now let's take a look at that local weather forecast. Today, a sunny day with a high just near 73 degrees with those south winds at 5 to 15 miles an hour. Tonight, clear with a low around 47 with west-southwest winds 10 to 15, easing up to 5 to 10 miles an hour after midnight. For Wednesday, we're looking for a sunny, slightly warmer day with a high near 80 with light and variable winds becoming south-southwest 5 to 10 miles an hour. Wednesday night, clear and a low around 51 degrees with those winds staying around 5 to 10 miles an hour. Into Thursday, we're looking for another sunny day with a high near 82 with southeast winds at 5 to 10. For Thursday night, mostly clear and a low around 54. Into Friday, mostly sunny with a high near 84. Friday night, partly cloudy and a low around 56 degrees. And for Saturday, July 4th, Independence Day, a sunny day with a high near 86 degrees. Saturday night, partly cloudy with a low around 56. And it heats back up for July 5th on Sunday, sunny with a high near the upper 80s, 88, with a Sunday night low around 57 degrees. And now, back to the news. You've probably heard about Weld County and how they are not just going with the flow of whatever comes out of the state capitol. Well, the Complete Colorado website wrote on the most recent issue that puts that county in the news. Weld County is unlikely to ask for a waiver from the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment, CDPHE, to reopen businesses faster or with less regulation because its county attorney says it doesn't have to. Weld County Attorney Bruce Barker recently sent a memo to commissioners answering several questions posed by them over the past few weeks from constituents who had reached out to them, confused by Weld County's stance on Governor Jared Polis's, quote, safer at home executive orders. Barker said that the public health orders do not outline how to isolate or quarantine sick people, which the CDPHE actually has the authority to do. Instead, there are a series of rules that are not only unenforceable, but also created inappropriately outside of protocol. In the memo, which Complete Colorado received earlier this month, Barker says that state public health orders 20 through 28 are a series of rules couched as orders that he said are without legal effect. Quote, rather general rules on how you go about living your lives or running your businesses, Barker said in a recent podcast interview with Karen Cataline. In order to quarantine or isolate, they have the authority to do that. But doing general rules, there's no authority for the state health director to do that except for by rulemaking. End quote. The rulemaking process is long and cumbersome and requires the legislature to authorize the new rules in statute. None of that has occurred in this case. According to Barker, that was the first red flag for him, supported by a Wisconsin Supreme Court ruling that dismissed orders by that state's governor after the state legislature sued for overstepping his authority. Barker said that the ruling given by the state Supreme Court in that case echoed everything he says in his opinion. Quote, if you go along with the premise that the state health director can issue orders that are rules that then tell you how to live your life and run your business, then that person has the ability to change her mind at any time, Barker said. You have an unelected official who is creating a crime, end quote. Barker, who has worked as the county attorney in Weld for 37 years, said he addressed the subject with commissioners after the state requested Weld County apply for a waiver to allow businesses to reopen ahead of schedule. Weld County got caught in the crosshairs with Polis and the CDPHE when it announced its, quote, safer at work plan without their blessing. Polis had threatened to withhold federal emergency COVID-19 funding, but Weld commissioners ignored the threat. They continue to tell business owners in Weld County that they did not close them down and that they will not tell them when they can and cannot reopen or at what capacity. Barker said the second red flag was the fact that the state attorney general, Phil Weiser's office, has not prosecuted one single case under the orders. Additionally, the governor said himself in a press conference that the orders were not enforceable. Bottom line, Barker said, a variance is not needed because none of the rules were legally created anyway. He told Complete Colorado that businesses could challenge the validity of the orders if they need to defend citations received by police departments that enforce the state public health orders, despite the county repeatedly calling them non-existent. The argument would be there was no legal authority for the CDPHE director to issue the rules through a health order, Barker said. Quote, they needed to be by emergency rulemaking. Barker said that the biggest problem is people continue to abide by the order. The state health director can't create the rule, Barker said. I'm surprised that there has been very little pushback. When I talk with county attorneys across the state, they are more than happy to go along with it and ask for variances, and very proud that they got them. The variances issued include the end of every one of them a short statement that says the state health director has the ability to rescind that variance at any time for any reason. The question comes down to, do you want to submit to that sort of discretionary authority when, from my review, they don't have that authority to begin with? Barker said that he believes other counties are asking for them because it's the easier path, but he has told commissioners he does not recommend that they ask for the variance. Quote, it's not wise to ask for a variance because then you are playing into the game, and I don't think you should play into the game, Barker said. The harder path is to say, quote, no, it's not something we're going to go along with, and stand up to it. These orders have a tendency to say we're not going to allow you to have individual responsibility. Instead, we're going to order you to do what we think you ought to do and how to live your life. I don't think that sits well up here in Weld County. And tomorrow we'll have the update from today's Board of County Commissioners here in Dolores County's end of the month commissioners meeting, where they will be discussing the authority to issue citations here from the health department. More on that tomorrow. The Colorado Sun reported on the courts upholding the magazine bans. Jeremy Martinez photo. The Colorado Supreme Court on Monday upheld the state's 7-year-old ban on gun magazines that hold more than 15 rounds of ammunition. Rocky Mountain Gun Owners, a hardline gun rights organization based in Colorado, challenged the large capacity magazine law, arguing that it violates the state constitution. Specifically, the organization contended that the law goes against a clause that gives people the right to be armed to defend their homes, property, and themselves. The Colorado Supreme Court, however, disagreed in a 45-page decision. Justice Monica M. Marquez, in writing the court's opinion, said that the ban is, quote, a reasonable exercise of the police power that has neither the purpose nor effect of nullifying the right to bear arms in self-defense, end quote. Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser, whose office defended the law, praised the decision. Quote, the large capacity magazine law will decrease the deadly impacts of mass shootings by reducing the number of people who will be shot during a mass shooting incident, and it will save lives, the Democrat said in a written statement. It also honors Coloradans' right to bear arms for personal defense. Today's ruling is a win for public safety and for the rule of law, he said. The law was passed a year after the 2012 Aurora Theater shooting, which left 12 people dead and dozens more wounded. The gunman, allegedly in that attack, used a 100-round magazine, allegedly. The policy was part of a package of bills passed in 2013 and signed into law by then Governor John Hickenlooper, running for senator, including legislation requiring a background check for every gun purchase in Colorado. The ban on large capacity magazines was likely the most controversial part of the package. The legislation prompted a magazine manufacturer, Magpul, to relocate its facilities out of the state. 2 Democratic state senators were also recalled in the wake of the bill's passage, and a third resigned to avoid a recall. Also in June of 2014, Hickenlooper met with Colorado's county sheriffs and couched his support for the legislation in remarks that led to a political fiasco. One of my staff had committed us to signing it, he told the sheriffs. Hickenlooper now talks about the legislation passed in 2013 as part of his bid to become a U.S. senator. Rocky Mountain Gun Owners has challenged other gun control measures in Colorado in court. In 2020, the Colorado legislature passed a so-called red flag law, which allows for judges to order the seizure of firearms from people that they deem an imminent threat to themselves or others. Rocky Mountain Gun Owners sued, challenging the process by which the law made its way through the legislature, but a Denver judge dismissed the case in May. It wasn't immediately clear on Monday if Rocky Mountain Gun Owners would appeal the decision in the larger capacity magazine case in federal court. And this is an older article from 2015 that sheds light on a very important topic, which is germ versus terrain theory. It's from Natural News. The Western world we are desperately obsessed with killing things off that we feel can threaten our livelihood. Whether it's germs, terrorists, or the next-door neighbor, we seek to eliminate anything that doesn't agree with us rather than trying to maintain a healthy balance between desired and undesirable circumstances. When it comes to our health, the Western world has largely adopted the germ theory, meaning that we need to identify and destroy anything we deem as a foreign invader, as it is directly responsible for causing disease. It's a theory. However, there is another theory called the terrain theory, which believes that it is not the, quote, germ that determines disease, but rather the state of our internal health and its ability to maintain homeostasis in the face of, quote, unfriendly organisms. Let's look into each theory a bit further to determine which theory we should adopt when trying to be healthy. The germ or microbial theory of disease was popularized by Louis Pasteur. He lived from 1822 to 1895, the inventor of pasteurization. This theory states that there are fixed external germs which invade the body and are the direct cause of a variety of separate definable diseases. If you truly want to get well, you need to kill whatever germ made you sick and do whatever possible to make, quote, sure that you never allow a microbe to enter your body in the first place. With this theory comes Western medicine and its tools and technology that treats the symptoms of an unfriendly microbe rooting itself in the internal environment through things like drugs, surgery, radiation, and chemotherapy. Taking it to a step further, in order to try to avoid an infection in the first place, various vaccines have been introduced to attempt to keep the disease from invading our body in the first place. The germ theory was partly shaped around Pasteur's idea that the human body is sterile, meaning it's a blank slate devoid of any germs. With this notion in mind, we could conclude that we have to combat germs all the time in every way possible, and that preventative measures through things like nutrition are basically useless. So, if you are to closely follow the germ theory, you need to be vigilant against various types of infections through prevention, primarily vaccinations, and destruction, antibiotics, surgery, radiation, chemotherapy, of any external microbe that ever attempts or succeeds to get inside our body. Anything else is basically fruitless against disease prevention. Now, the terrain theory was introduced and initiated by Claude Bernard. He lived from 1813 to 1878, and later built upon by Antoine Béchamp, 1816 to 1908. He believed They both believed that the terrain or internal environment determined our state of health. When the body is functioning in homeostasis and immunity and detoxification is operating well, he claimed there was a healthy terrain which could handle various pathogenic microorganisms that inevitably are thrown its way. In essence, he believed that the quality of the terrain and the elements it faced determined an individual's susceptibility to dis-ease. Bernard Bechamp and their successors believed that disease occurs to a large extent as a function of biology and as a result of changes that take place when metabolic processes become imbalanced. Germs then become symptoms that stimulate the occurrence of more symptoms, which eventually accumulate into disease. A weak terrain is naturally more vulnerable to external threats, so it needs to be built up through nutrition, detoxification, and by maintaining a proper pH or acid-alkaline balance. For this and other reasons, Bechamp argued vehemently against vaccines, asserting that, quote, the most serious disorders may be provoked by the injection of living organisms into the blood. Untold numbers of researchers have agreed with him. So, if you are to closely follow the terrain theory, you may make yourself aware of various external microbes that could be harmful to our health and the gentle, non-toxic removal of them. But your focus is on building and maintaining the integrity of your inner terrain so that any external microbe that you may ingest does not morph into anything with serious implications to your health. This means nutrition, detoxification, and mindset are key factors you consider too important in disease prevention and elimination. One of the most interesting twists in this battle for disease prevention supremacy, primarily headlined by Pasteur and Bernard, is that Pasteur recanted on his deathbed over his entire life work, stating that, quote, the microbe is nothing, the milieu is everything. Another way of stating these words is that it is not the germ that causes disease, but the terrain in which the germ is found. Another gentleman, Rudolf Virchow, father of the germ theory, stated in his later years, quote, if I could live my life over again, I would devote it to providing that germs seek their natural habitat, diseased tissues, rather than causing disease. So, when you're considering your health plan, strongly consider the results that we are seeing in a germ theory-dominated healthcare system. Then decide whether you want to take that road or follow those who are healthy that predominantly follow the terrain theory. This author staunchly believes in the terrain theory and has removed many disease labels and symptoms from his life by completely following the theory and admonishing the idea of the germ theory. You can see the type of results he generated in reestablishing his terrain online at naturalnews.com. And if you're also a firm believer that health of your terrain largely determines your overall health and want to know how to master that environment so you can not only survive but thrive, check into holistic health programs. So, regardless of what theory anyone believes in, keeping one's immune system healthy seems to be a primary way to stay healthy. Dolores County remains at 0 positive cases of the COVID-19 pandemic, as reported as of yesterday. And you can check out our Facebook page, which is DCTV Daily News, where you can watch the program replay along with news links and stories of local interest, and you too can share other events or news there and join in on the conversation. Again, it's your local community TV station, so if you have something you'd like to share, contact us. The email is dcbnnews@gmail.com, or you can call 970-677-4119. Thanks for tuning in to DCTV Daily News. Programs are broadcast Monday through Friday with replays online on our YouTube channel or on our DCTV Daily News page on Facebook. And if you like the program, please do like and follow us there on Facebook and share it with your friends and family. This has been a production of DCTV for the DCTV Daily News program out of Dove Creek, Colorado, USA. I'm Kendra Cook. Again, thank you for watching.